and they freaking work.
Do they?
Yeah. So we inherited another project. This project here had a wiring harness swap for the engine compartment. Original wiring harness had some issues, swapped it out. Now, the problem that we see is that none of the stuff on the dash works. No headlights come on. The high beam indicator light comes on in here, but no lights come on. Windshield squirter, no squirtage. Cruise control, it sees all the stuff for the cruise control on the dash, but it doesn't do anything with the motor. So we think that there's a disconnect between the harness for the steering wheel and where it outputs into the engine bay and the front of the vehicle. We'll address that first. And if we can find those problems, we got a couple other problems we'll do. But this is the big issue. I think we need to solve that first and figure out where we're at and how far down this road we're gonna get. We'll show you a little bit. Let's see what we can find out. If you look right here, you can kind of see what looks like it might be the back of a plug-in. And I don't see any wires going to these headlamps. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull this headlamp out. At least verify. I need to know, I mean, if it's there and we just need to move on, fine. But if it's not, we need to remedy that problem first, because we can't fix anything if we don't have connections. I've never had the headlight out of a Dodge. So we're just gonna start taking bolts out to see if we can figure out what holds them in. I would be really excited if we get like an instant win. It would be like, yay, on to something else. Doesn't usually work out that way for me, but okay, we'll back up and punt. Because I do not think that that was the problem I had at first envisioned. Okay, so what's weird is the dash sees, when I pull like the dimmer switch, lever and all that stuff, the dash sees that the high beams should be coming on. They're not. This is the fuse box. You don't think that they shorted it out and blew the fuses in the wires? Oh yeah, that's a good one.
The tester light, and we'll see. We'll map out where. Does that have a road map on the top of it?
That's what I was looking for.
If it does, see where high beam, headlights and high beam. It's kind of hard to see, but this plug-in right here, that looks to be the main group harness that's going down or coming back into the steering column. And that doesn't look to be all butchered up. So I think we need to track down where the headlights and that stuff are getting power from. Make sure we're getting actual power out.
You making a song?
No, I just beat my head against the wall. That has power to both sides of that, which means it's backfeeding power from someplace. Which other one was it?
The other 30 amp. Oh, looks clean.
They're good.
Yeah. Wasn't that one hot on both sides too?
That one also is hot on both sides.
Wouldn't that just blow it? I guess it's not shorting.
No, it just means that it's backfeeding power for some reason. Why is it backfeeding power? You just barely watched us figure out that the fuse panel seems to be backfeeding from the feed side, not the fed side. The only thing we can determine is, or the only thing we can guess is that this steering column is backfeeding power on the output side of a couple items, and that's causing us a problem. So I'm going to pull the trim panel off of here, I think, and get up inside of here and see. I wonder if the flashers work. Flashers do work. This has got to come out of here somehow to get it out. So this is the tilt lever. So the tilt lever's got to come off so that you can get the...
Oh, is it through the...
Yeah, it goes through the plastic.
Is it like a hole or like a...
It's a hole. It's like this should have some way for it to come off. I don't know how to get that out. I'm feeling lost.
I think it...
Here you go.
Tyler just pulled it off. Gone. See how that's locked?
Mm-hmm.
That should be unlocked. But there should be some sort of a push tab to unlock it. Well, why don't you look up how to unplug this thing? We figured her out. YouTube University for the win. There's a... Can you see that white chingus right there? So that white piece right there is a lock that slides all the way down. And once you undo that lock, the fine print says you should be able to undo that thing. And that whole chodingus right there comes out. My guess is that that little module right there is different between the two steering columns. There's only power to one side of it now. I bet you it's that module. I bet you that module, the pinout is different on the car that this harness was donated from.
You plugged the dash back in, so the
I
dash
just-
has power now?
I just plugged the flashers back in, was the only thing. So now the flasher's not plugged in. This is the flasher. So the only thing that does is the flasher.
Okay. Well, so when that's plugged in now, where's your testor? Do that same one.
Pinky one right here?
Yep. Uh-huh.
So that column, the two modules in that column are ill-compatible with the harness that's in it. Well, the good news is I believe you can change those two modules without tearing the whole car apart. So we could run down to the boneyard and just swap the modules over and see if the whole problem goes away. BGIF.
BGIF?
Uh-huh. The bill goes in front. This is for working and fast movements. This is how you wear a hat. So we started at this truck, went all the way back there, and came all the way back here because the camera guy said this was a GMC.
Ah.
And
Said it looked like a GMC.
so I started digging through it, and lo and behold, steering column. So right here is the whole turn signal unit and the ignition control module. So I think if we take this out, which is the tilterator, and this one out. So we're going to take that, which that's the ignition piece.
Oh, yeah. Look at those. Maybe not so good.
Some cookage. That's probably the reason that other plug is got some smokage looking inside of it.
Yeah.
But I need to get to the screws that are underneath that piece. That one I can kind of get to. All right, we made an executive decision. We're taking it all. So we can't turn the steering wheel because there's no key and we can't unlock it. So we're gonna have to get it with a pair of pliers to get that little bolt right there out of it. Because there's a small column, we'll just take the whole thing with us. We've got room. Take that. So the fine print says that this right here. Oh, look. There it is. Turn signal / headlight / flasher unit.
Bad?
Maybe. Well, we don't know. That one over there seems to be back feeding all weird.
Sounded promising.
It clicked. Let me get a big screwdriver.
Mm-mm.
She definitely doesn't seem to be happy. Well, I just pulled this ground out from in here. That whole bundle of grounds
Mm-hmm. It's not
wasn't hooked to
connected.
anything. I bet you that one that whole bundle of grounds came up here, and when they swapped it out, they forgot to hook these grounds up.
So now do we venture into taking this thing apart, or do we plug everything back in, hook those grounds up, and see if that fixes it?
So I'm hoping that they used this entire fuse block and brain from this truck, and they just unplugged the harness and put the new harness from the donor truck in here. We found this massive bundle of wires you guys just saw that were grounds that you guys just saw weren't hooked to anything. They were just tucked down here in the fender well. So I'm hoping that the guys that worked on it before just had a momentary lapse and didn't get that plugged in, or didn't get that ground hooked up, and everything else here is fixing to be happy. So if we hook that ground up over there. Okay. Now,
And they freaking work.
do they?
Yeah.
Son of a motherless goat.
Oh, what a monkey.
I have the whole interior of this truck torn apart.
And we spent all day here. Look, the windshield wipers work.
Yeah, you want to know the whole thing? All day long I spent on working on this thing, right? So we decided we're going to tear the whole fuse panel out of it and check all the fuel saddles. Underneath the fuse panel, I found this massive bundle of grounds just shoved in there, not hooked into anything. So none of the interior, none of the front half of the truck was grounded to anything.
What?
Hey, phase one is done. We're going to check that guy off. We did find some other problems. We're probably going to see this guy again, but that's for another video. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.